money with digital assets. And I don't know why I'm wearing these headphones, folks. We got a major show today. We got to talk about Bitcoin's price action. We got to talk about Aster, the hottest altcoin. I told you to top blast it yesterday. We're going to look at those charts. Also, we got some major news coming out of the Trump administration. Also, some very, very interesting stuff with some Bitcoin whales. What the heck are the Bitcoin whales? And we got to tell you about SBF posting. Is he posting from prison? Are we about to have another crime saga? And maybe we'll look at a meme or one. Maybe it gets a little risque, folks. We got to be careful with those SBF memes. You know what I'm talking about. And we're going to talk about Ethereum supercycle. What does that look like? We got some MVRV charts. We got a lot of great stuff that we're going to share with you today. But first, we're going to check ourselves before we wreck ourselves. This was what we were talking about yesterday. Made a prediction. You can actually kind of see that the prediction wasn't all that far off. We posted about the 4-hour RSI, and you can also see it on the 1 hour here. Now, this is a 4-hour trend line that I drew out. This is before we saw any of this. We're just seeing that, hey, we're making lower lows with the price while the RSI is making higher highs. And I actually drew out, I was like, yeah, I think it's going to do one more retest. We drew out the line. We drew the little prediction here and came pretty close, folks. So go ahead and smash that like button if you're, you're able to catch this long, if you're able to catch some of these wicks into this recent pump that we're seeing. Looking at the 5-minute chart, you can see Bitcoin, a little bit of a liquidation wick, a little bit of trying to get everybody liquidated out of their long positions. People's coming in, stopped out, maybe right below here, comes in a little bit lower than that. And now Bitcoin is just sending cents. We are still in some trades. Let's look at the rest of the crypto market cap. We're going to go ahead and hit refresh. We're going to zoom in so we can see a little bit better here. Bitcoin is up 0.3, but largely flat. ETH is flat. XRP flat. BNB flat. Everything's flat until you get to Solana. Solana with a little bit of a tumble here is down almost 3%. Cardano flat. Tron's flat. Doge with a little bit of a pump, though. So we feel good holding on to that Doge. And Chainlink, surprisingly, with a little bit of a dip despite all the good news. AVAX also pulling back a little bit. I hope you watched last night's video on Avalanche. Drew, the Druth came out and put out a video. Make sure you check that out. People saying XRP is trash. I got some news about XRP. Brad selling his XRP. Is that how he paid for the wedding? I mean, we don't know, folks. We don't know. Maybe, but money is fungible. How many people will hold ADA past the previous all-time high of $3? When Cardano hits $2.50, $2.75, everybody who's saying $3 was the top is then going to shift and say, well, now I think $5 is the top, $6 is the top. So a lot of people will probably hold more than I would say you might be thinking here. All right, let's look at the big gainers. These are the gainers. They're jumping off that diving board. They're flipping. They're rotating. Flare is up. Immutable is up. And Aster is up. We're going to talk about Aster momentarily here. And we see Doge, Sky, and Pi. Sky and Pi. And we always like seeing that. And we have on the losers, we got Crow with a little bit of a tumble. Hype losing a lot of their hype. We're going to deep dive into Hype versus Aster with CZ. We're going to talk about all that, folks. And we see Mantle with a little bit of a pullback. And it is surprising seeing Solana, one of the biggest losers here. It makes sense for Avalanche. It's up 41% in a month. It's up 15% in a week here. But Solana is actually down for the week and still with a little bit of a decline here. Maybe people trading their Solana or some of these altcoins. The Aster, not everybody had dry powder on the sidelines. Maybe some of these people selling some assets. I know in our Aster buying guide, I had an old gaming wallet from 2021. Had some, at the time, felt like BNB dust. Ended up trading that into Aster. I mean, we're up incredibly on that position. We were jumping in pretty close to 75 cents here. Remember when CZ was fighting Crow and then he got locked up? They won't let him out. They did let him out. I guess he didn't pull the Acon. They did let him out there. Thank you for the repost, everybody on X. Thank you for everybody smashing the like button. Thank you for the subscribe post there. Tonight, we're going to talk about the next Aster, folks. Tonight's video, I'm going to dive in and do some more research on YZI Labs. What else are they investing in? What are they the main investor in? Like, what are they leading these investing rounds? I don't want to think that they have a small position. What do they have the large positions on? We're going to be checking that out. But speaking of Aster, and then we'll talk a little Bitcoin here. I'm talking about what we were looking at yesterday. People asked me yesterday, point blank, DZ, is it too late to buy Aster? Should I buy Aster? What did I say? You guys remember, I said, you got to top blast this thing. The reason why we were talking about the RSI. So, from the 4-hour RSI on Bitcoin, we saw that this was creating bullish divergences. But when we looked at the, some of these other time frames on Aster, I was saying, no, this is, we're looking at the 23rd. I was like, no, the RSI is showing strength. The RSI, remember, this is relative strength index. The index was saying the strength was there. I'm like, this thing is still hot. It looks like it's going to go higher. And so if you did jump in on that trade yesterday, I do appreciate that. Congrats, everybody. And I guess I can go ahead and give you that Aster link. We do have a link for Aster. Let me go ahead and find it. Give me 1 second. Get your questions in. Let me know, do you think it is too late to buy Aster? Would you be top blasting Aster at this point? Or, are we talking about a fool's errand here? I'm going to put the Aster link in the comment section. And boom, I think I'm posted here. Yeah, there you go. Discover Crypto, got that link in there. But let's look back at the Aster chart. This does look a little overheated. This does look a little maybe dicey. Dicey is the word here. Also looks like, maybe getting a little risk reward is getting to a point where it's not really that beneficial. All right, Aster link. If you want to trade on Aster, we just got the link in today's description here. But if you look at the RSI on the 1 hour, we are creating bearish divergences. But if you look at the last time we started top blasting, the bearish divergence was the end on the 1 hour. So that you might be getting to the point where you might be trying to find an entry point. Try to get an entry point. Maybe the best thing I would do here, if I'm trying to find out, like, all right, where can I jump in at? Aster fell about 35%. So maybe start scaling in. I wouldn't wait for 35% exactly. I wouldn't wait for maybe even 32. I would maybe start jumping in at a 25% decline, maybe even 20 if you're just, you don't mind jumping in and DCAing on the way down. But if you look at a 20%, I'm thinking, I was actually talking to my coworkers, I think under $2, that's where you start DCAing in. I'm not saying it's bouncing from 198, but I'm saying that might be a good point to start positioning yourself. So today we're saying, maybe isn't a top blast day for Aster. Let's dive in a little bit. ADA will get to 450 cents. Yeah, all right. Sure. 450. I can see 500. I can see 500 pennies there. YZI is teaming up with Plume. We're going to do the deep dive. We're going to cover all this stuff, folks. All right, so we got the video from the CEO. This man is talking about whether or not we're going to see Aster airdrop here. So let me go ahead and add this screen here. So I want to make sure we guys got the sound. All right, so I'm going to throw on my headphones. All right, this is only going to be about 20 seconds. I'm not playing the whole interview. Aster CEO confirming L1 coming to Aster. They are copying Hype. They're going to be basically a competitor to the Solanas, the Cardanos, the Ethereums, the XRPs here.
We are going to roll out our own blockchain L1 as well. It's in the process of we're internal testing it. But
I know it's probably a frame rate. It's a hotel Wi-Fi issue. If I had to guess, it's a hotel Wi-Fi issue. But why is this guy coming off like he's AI?
The way that we design it, we want to preserve trade privacy while providing trade verifiability. So you can verify a trade, but other people can't see exactly what that position is.
That guy has very little emotion hitting his face there. So I don't think it's AI. That's probably really what he looks like there. But yeah, Aster confirming Aster chain here. So let's look into the details. So let me zoom in a little bit. So Aster surge to new heights. I love how they have teal font there. After CEO Leonard reveals ambitious plans, including proprietary L1, potential Binance listing, and a buyback program. So it's gaining a lot of traction. It's number 2 in daily revenue. We're going to verify this in a second. Trailing only Tether, and it even passed Circle. Now, Leonard, the CEO, confirming the highly anticipated Aster chain, the L1, is in testing. The new blockchain promises sub-second finality, integrated perpetuals, low fees, and enhanced privacy. This is why they're going to win, folks, at least in a short term. They said Aster chain is going to enable verifiable trades without revealing individual positions. What is the number one problem plaguing the whales trading on Hyperliquid? The James Wins? Hell, the Andrew Tates. Anybody with the name behind them, they're getting hunted. These whales on Hyperliquid are getting hunted. Now, I don't know how this privacy position is going to work. I don't know how you're going to be able to do these trades with privacy while still having some transparency. If I had to guess, we're going to see total orders for a price point, but we won't see individual wallets. So you'll know that you're going to liquidate $1 billion worth of positions, but maybe you don't know you're liquidating James Wynn for 800 million. I think when there's a large position of, trades, people look at that, they don't really have a desire to hunt that. But when you see one man loses $800 million if this token hits this price, it triggers something inside people. It creates this desire to be, well, I don't want to be the hunted. I want to be the hunter. And then they end up, like I'm going to be the predator of the crypto space. When you're going after, well, $1.1 billion in positions and it's, 800,000 wallets and, average loss is going to be $40 a trade. Yeah, that doesn't really get people's juices flowing. It doesn't get that fight or flight response. But when you see, I can liquidate Andrew Tate if I push this price, or if I, we end up get our little cabal going. Yeah, I think whales hiding their trades is going to be a huge, huge, huge win for Aster here. All right, now dark pools will be good. All right, let me get this article in here. So we got to remove this. So when we do sound and we don't do sound, it's two different situations here, folks. So Leonard, here is the CEO. We were looking at the CEO earlier. CEO said it'll enable verifiable trades without revealing individual positions, as I'm trying to read something that's not there. So trading without showing the position. No one is talking about how big this is going to be. No one's talking about how much the whales are going to love this. These old Bitcoin whales, they're all going to be flocking to Aster. Now, Aster, the other two catalysts, we have the Binance. They're in discussions with Binance about a possible Binance listing. What does that look like? CZ in a conference call? All right, I'm CZ and I'm in the conference call I'm in Binance's conference call. All right. So Binance team are all on. All right, hold on. Let me plug in my Aster conference call. All right, Aster team. All right, Aster team. Can we go on Binance? Hey, Binance team, can we make that happen? Hey, yeah, I've just heard that it's going to happen. Yeah, I mean, what are we even talking about? Of course, it's going to be listed on Binance. Now, we're suggesting CZ, has a lot of power. Of course he does, folks. Now, addressing questions about token buybacks, Leonard said the team still finalizing details, but views buybacks as the most direct way of pumping the token's price. He says returning value to the community. Essentially, he means buybacks are going to be what gets retail excited. That's what's going to get retail bullish, and that's what they're going to end up doing. And he noted that Hyperliquid, they're also aggressively buying back their Hype token. So that's what people want. People just want the token to go higher. So Aster, I think there's going to be a lot of room, folks. I do. Now, again, price-wise, we're getting a little overheated. We got this bull. We got the bear divs. Last time we saw bear divs, it ended up, not being the greatest move. If you're in the trade there, ended up declining 35%. I would say we're probably going to start declining, 20%. I think we got a 20% decline. Now, when it comes to the revenue, I wanted to check on this. This is a screenshot from DeFi Llama. The most profitable, let's just say, crypto project, 24 hours, Tether yesterday. No big surprise there. Number 3, USDC, Circle. Hype, number 4. EdgeX, the one DZ's been telling you about for freaking 2 weeks at this point. EdgeX, still killing it. But now Aster crushing it. Aster making more money than USDC is very, very significant. So again, oversold does not mean this thing cannot keep pumping. I would say, DCAing at 2 is a sound strategy. I think that's a good strategy. I also don't hate jumping in at the wicks. I think, in fact, I'll even throw on the horizontal line. We can check this tomorrow. I think if you start jumping in on these wicks, could also be a good potential entry point. I don't like buying at 225. Famous last words, it's going to be $3 tomorrow and it'll never dip lower. All right, now we got some other theses here saying why it's going to be big and it's going to keep pumping. CZ easily convinced Mr. Beast to invest billions in Aster. Well, he spent like $100K and then he paper handed it like a little weakling, but never looked at Jimmy Donaldson for your crypto advice there. Aster on Coinbase. Yes, eventually. Now, I actually did a little trade on Coinbase. I swapped all my VeChain for Athena. We did a VeChain video a few months back. I've just been staking and getting rewards and getting yield. I've taken all that yield, swapped it into Athena, folks. Is this the 2020, 2021 Uniswap of 2025? I would say, yeah, we already had that with Hype. And I mean, you can kind of say it's already happening here. I think it's all bull crap. Betting against CZ is, I don't know, folks. I don't know. I sold my V chain. Now it's time to pump. Maybe. I do have a good thesis there. Dana White, he likes V chain. That's going to be enough for retail to jump on. Literally, that's enough. Oh, Dana White's friends with Donald Trump, and Donald Trump's a billionaire. I guess I'll buy this token. It's on the Octagon. Don't use investment advice from whether or not something's in the Octagon. Oh, it's in the Octagon. It must be bullish. That being said, VeChain's probably going to pump. It's going to go to 10 cents. I don't know if it goes to 25 again. CZ, here's the other thesis for Aster. CZ killed FTX by market dumping FTT. He was one of the largest holders from the get-go. Do you really think he doesn't already own 1 to 2% of Hype? He launched Hype USDT on perps on Binance just weeks before Kingmake and Aster. Funding rate on Nance is a third of Hyperliquid. Do we really think CZ isn't capable of killing Hype by dumping his entire spot bag on the open market, short on Hyperliquid, and then attempt a full vamp attack on token? GM, by the way, Hyperliquid, Aster Liquid. I do not think that CZ is going to systematically try to kill the Hyperliquid ecosystem by market dumping his Hype token. But at the same time, he is capable. He is capable of doing it. I don't think he's capable, like, as far as his mental framework of how he operates, but he's certainly capable with his portfolio. Like, if he wanted to, he could. I just don't think he's that type of bad actor there. Now, Aster dethroning Hyperliquid, like we saw with the open interest. We're going to define open interest, those that don't know. So it showed that Aster top daily perpetual trading volumes surpassing competitors, including Hype, including EdgeX here. And it showed that the open interest jumped from 3 million on Friday. We first mentioned it Wednesday, Thursday. I think, hey, look at this thing that happened on Wednesday, Thursday. Like, oh man, Friday we're screaming buy. In the weekend, we put out the how to buy video. So the open interest went from 3 million on Friday to $1 billion today. Open interest, if you don't know, refers to the total number of outstanding trades that haven't been settled, or the outstanding contracts out there. So if you have a long that's still open, a short that's still open, open interest is gone to $1.25 billion. And people are trying to fade this. Again, it's maybe it works out for you. Maybe you end up having just one of the best trades of your entire life. To me, it's risky shorting this thing. Now, they did see DeFi Llama showing that the trading volumes, also huge. It's now up to 24 billion. 24-hour trading volume is now above Hyperliquid. So Aster had 24 billion. Hyperliquid had 10 billion. Players like EdgeX and Lighter follow closely. Again, been telling you about EdgeX for a while now. The daily volumes, 8 billion and 6 billion respectively. Now, when we did the EdgeX video 2 weeks ago, Aster wasn't even really a thing. It wasn't really in the narrative here. EdgeX was number 2, and EdgeX has an airdrop coming. So if you guys want to see the EdgeX video, maybe we'll do an EdgeX video. But thoughts on IMX. IMX is, I think, kind of benefiting from the current narrative, which is revenue. IMX has patents and gaming-related technologies when it comes to gaming and crypto, and people license that technology and pay IMX money. The problem with IMX is the token unlocks. Token unlocks, maybe finally they quit selling. So IMX is one that's just like highly correlated to what the whales do, because it all boils down to, are they selling their token unlocks, or are they diamond handing the token unlocks? When they finally stop selling, that's when that coin starts pumping there. D's nuts. All right. Disco fan. Where's the peanut gallery? We got the peanut gallery in the chat here. We might look at some Bitcoin dominance in a little bit. Hyperliquid is a scam. I would like to see you maybe define that further. I would say the scam is the amount of dots you have on your freaking last name. Okay. That's a scam. The alphabet's a scam. Your last name's a scam. Hyperliquid. Yeah. I'll give you, it's a little scammy though. I'm just kidding. Nothing wrong with having dots in random consonants. Okay. It just is what it is. Is there any chance Aster hits $20? All right, before we roll into Bitcoin, we'll do quick back of the napkin math because I'm seeing people talk about this just so incorrectly. It's frustrating me because, there's a lot of idiots out there and, the peanut gallery, the disco fan. We are the smartest chat out there. I like to think I'm better informed than most here. That's why I do this every day and eat, sleep, breathe crypto. So people keep talking about hype. The hype market cap. It was a $1 billion. It's a $1 billion market cap. Then Aster, it's a $2 billion market cap. Then now today it's a $3 billion market cap. Hype was 15. Hype was $15 billion market cap. Let's open up another CoinGecko here. All right. Now let's look at Aster. Sater. All right. Aster's up. The hype's been down. Aster's been up. Aster's got a, hey, dude, now it's almost 4. We're talking about it at like 1.2. Now it's 3.6. So Aster, they do have a big unlock in October. That's whatever. So people are looking at the market cap. They're like, at the time, it was 1 billion to 15 billion. It's going to do a 15x. No one was talking about the fully diluted value of Aster. Fully diluted, Aster is 17 billion. Now, I got kind of a couple thoughts on this. One, this needs to change your math. Okay, it wasn't a 15x to hit Hyperliquid once you count in the fully diluted valuation. But let me shit on my own point here. CZ is not one to paper hand, and so as these tokens start rolling out, there's going to be a lot of whales. Not all of them. Not the people getting the airdrop. But, YZI Labs, they're going to get a good portion of the 17 billion. As this market cap turns into the fully diluted value, Binance's former investment arm, CZ's family office, it was formerly named Binance Labs. They're getting a lot of this $14 billion discrepancy. They're not going to paper hand that all that much. They're probably going to sell none until it's the time to sell, if you know what I mean here. And so if we go back here, Hype's fully diluted is 45 billion. So there is still upside and there is still, a shot for it to go higher. But, can it, what are we asking, a $20? Can it 10x? I think the 10x is gone. Crypto is not going to give you 100x that easily, I don't think. There were people that got in at 17 cents. You can see CoinGecko didn't even really list it till 50 cents. CoinMarketCap, I think you can see some of those other prices there. So $20, I don't think that's something, I would be shooting for, but doubling, that's good. That's good in today's crypto. I mean, we've been holding ETH and it's been trading flat like a pancake. So let's be happy with the 2x though. The unlock will take time. Yeah, there's going to be like monthly drips and it's going to be for years there. Link to 700 by 2030. I'll take 70 this year, please. Just give me that there. AVNT is better than Aster. Having CZ is not in your equation. You need to have CZ being part of this ecosystem, part of your equation. Also, Hyperliquid, just being a easily digestible narrative. Like, oh, it's the next hype. Oh, it's a perpetual DEX that's opening its own L1, and then they'll look at hype. So you need something for normies to anchor upon, and that's something for the normies to anchor upon. All right, let's talk about a little Bitcoin now. It's time to talk a little king here. The Orange King is what Democrats called Trump. But no, we're talking about Bitcoin, chat. What do you think? What do you think this is? This isn't PBD podcast. All right, to bet that Bitcoin has topped already is simply betting on a lower probability outcome, in my opinion. Basically, it's a nerd way of saying this higher odds is going higher versus lower. I don't know what you guys are thinking. I don't know what you guys are smoking here, but this is the MVRV score. So this is pulled from Bitcoin Magazine Pro. We do have a big pro. Shout out to Kelly Kellum, BitLab Academy here hooking this up. But MVRV Z-Score is a Bitcoin chart that uses blockchain analysis to basically see where Bitcoin is extremely over or undervalued compared to its fair value. So it uses market value compared to realized value, and market value is just going to be the multiplied by the number of coins in circulation times the current price. So that's just the market cap of Bitcoin. Realized value is, rather than taking the current price of Bitcoin, it takes the price of each Bitcoin when it was last moved, aka when it was sent from one wallet to another wallet, or when you pulled it from an exchange or anything. So then it's just looking, so old ancient Bitcoin mined and hasn't been touched since 2012, that's going to lower that realized value. And then they have the Z-Score. It's basically it's just the math equation, basically the numbers they're punching in to get this line. MVRV is way lower than where we were previous cycles. You can see 2021 MVRV shot up to, I want to say 5-ish, 6. Oh no, it was above 5. It was like 7. Oh, 705 here. Got as low as -3.1. This is suggesting to me we have not topped out. This is suggesting to me that we have not seen the parabolic rally. Will we get a parabolic rally with BlackRock, yada, yada? I think so, because even if you compare the muted rally of the second half of 2021, we haven't even gotten that high. So I think there's still room to run. Bitcoin Magazine, they do have some other ones. I was looking at Pure Multiple. Pure Multiple is also, pretty far away. Pure Multiple is diminishing. So maybe you can make an argument that this is the BlackRock ETF pump. Everybody got bullish after the ETFs were approved. This was in January 20th, 2024. And you can see it kind of running up in the same time period all the way up until March as that ETF just started pumping and pumping and pumping. And then it dumped, reset. I think we go higher, folks. To me, this is not the end of the cycle. In fact, we're still in an uptrend when you look at most measurements, including the one pointed out by Caleb Franzen here. All right, people talking about Gala. Hey, man, they had Kings of Leon, right? So super bullish. No, not really. You see Google's using SWE for AI agent payment system. That's not true. What happened is Google has an AI agent framework. And in this, you follow this framework, you're then kind of tied into the network. And so Google using SWE, a more accurate way would be SWE has entered a Google framework ecosystem, which can then be accessed by other companies. So it's kind of given a common language there. Still bullish, but I wouldn't say Google is using SWE. Can Aster make us a millionaire in the future of holding? Yes, with $333,000. Now I do think Aster is going to do well. Let's see, AVNT. Yes, we are aware. Oh, QTO is the one on DEX. Is the one on Solana. I have heard of some of these Solana perpetuals. I'll check that one out. Thank you very much there. Let's see here. Ninja's contract application. Oh, okay. Some people got some Gala nodes, people just, kind of long-term bullish on it. BZ's work involved in any coin that would be a boom. Is it, sir? That will be the boom, is it, sir? Yes. All right. It's perp DEX season, and that's right, folks. And this is going to last for at least 2 more days because this is crypto. It's 2025. Things move fast. All right, Bitcoin didn't close below the 100-day EMA during this recent dip. In fact, it's trying to rebound. All right, it's trying to pull a Charles Barkley, a Karl Malone, a Dennis Rodman. All right, pulling up the moving averages here. So he was using 21, 5,500. We're using 20, 50, 100, 200. And you can see we bounced. Right now, we're like right at it. We are right here. This thing is wanting to hold on for dear life here, folks. So as long as we can hold this, I mean, you could definitely say we are in an uptrend. In fact, we dip below. No, we dip below the 200 and people, it is still an uptrend, folks. So I wouldn't be too worried about it, but this is a fairly important point to bounce from. We do need to bounce off this 100-day. Now, are we about to have a huge pump because of gold? I did a short on this yesterday. Is it possible that the biggest Bitcoin pump of all time, mere days away from starting? Yes. Short answer, yes. All right. Gold typically does precede a Bitcoin pump here. This is the interesting chart here I want to share. Gold hit the most overbought level on the monthly chart in 45 years. 45 years. This is very, very significant. I think some of this capital. Now, a lot of it's going to go to Palladium. I'm not trying to be funny. We have John Dalton. He's going big. It's a trader in our Discord. We do have a Discord link down below. He is bullish on Palladium right now. He said a lot of this money is going to go to the beta metal plays. Palladium, I think, silver's already got a lot of this capital. Palladium's going to be next. Some number of this is going to end up in Bitcoin, folks. 100% is some of it's going to be in 100% of the time. A portion of this will roll into Bitcoin. All right. Anybody else wondering if Trump embracing crypto is anti-Trump money working against the bull run? Not a terrible thesis, Ken. However, I think they would wait until the midterms. So they would dump it like that July, August, September, October 2026. I like that thesis. I just think it would happen closer to there. Copper, palladium, people are bullish on this, man. Is it the correct time to buy Aster? We did a little TA in the beginning of the show. If you wanted to DCA in now, I would do only 5% of the cash on the dry powder on the sidelines. Because, yeah, I put 10-15% odds is going to top blast from here, never dips below. So, yeah, that way you still end up with some exposure. But I would say, higher odds, we are dipping closer to $2 than not. All right, let's see here. Just in, M2 money supply jumping to a new all-time high, 22 trillion. Of course, Colin talks crypto. He did post this a couple days ago, so he kind of front ran this news. This is M2 money supply. This is going to be good for Bitcoin. It's going to be good for, what has been good for gold, obviously. Now, Bitcoin monthly Bollinger Bands, also the tightest ever. Something big is brewing. When this gets tight, it precedes a major move to the upside or to the downside. It does not predict a direction. It just predicts the size of the move. And this is predicting a large, large move. For Bitcoin, you can see right before this pump, it started to close that gap. You can see right before this little run up, it started to close that gap. And you can see before the Giga Bull run of 2017, also closed that gap. Right now, we're closing that gap. Now, it also closes the gap somewhat before a little bit of a dump. But not really, folks. Not really. It's typically volatility lessons right before a huge, huge run up for Bitcoin. So the question is, why the hell is Bitcoin going down? Why is the crypto market showing weakness? We got all this bullishness. We got Trump clarity. We got Bitcoin whales. Well, wait a minute. What are the Bitcoin whales doing? They're the reason we're seeing some negative movement in the markets, in my opinion. One reason why Bitcoin prices have weakened. The reason is the whales are net selling. They have sold 150,000 Bitcoin since August 21st. So we're looking at about basically 30 days here, 32 days. Total balance declining at the fastest monthly rate of this current cycle. We have an article breaking it down a little bit further here. And so the Bitcoin whales, they're saying these are entities holding whales, usually 1,000 or more, started to offload. As soon as Bitcoin hit that new all-time high in August. So as soon as Bitcoin hit that new all-time high, the whales started dumping, and you can see the declining factor right there. Boom, coming off the end. Now, crypto quant analyst Dark Frost, that was Dark Frost. Wait a minute, isn't it Dark Frost? This guy don't even say Dark Frost. What the head of research? Dark Frost. I don't know. Look, we'll say it's Dark Frost. Whatever, said that the selling was mostly by long-term whales. So these are going to be the old whales selling to some new whales and, selling to, some newer traders, obviously. Glassnode showed that while whale moves may be accelerating, the volume transferred to exchanges has been relatively low since late August, meaning the coins are likely going elsewhere. Where are these coins going? Where are these ancient whales? They mined Bitcoin. When you can mine Bitcoin with a Motorola Razr, basically. You could mine it with an electronic TI-83 calculator. It was super easy. You're mining Bitcoin, and it cost you, a Tic Tac and a stick of gum. That's what one Bitcoin costs. 10,000 of them equal to pizza. So these people, they're moving their Bitcoin. Where? Well, Bitcoin treasury companies. Bitcoin treasury companies continuing their aggressive accumulation. Japan's Metaplanet, they got 5,000 last week. They're now the 5th largest holder. We got Michael Saylor, Strategy. We got River. So a lot of people, old whales selling to the new whales. Some of these new whales, digital asset treasury companies. So that is where the Bitcoin is heading. So if you're wondering, well, what the hell's going on? We got whales selling. We're seeing supply on exchanges. It's not pumping. Oh, well, they're selling to these digital asset treasury companies. So that is basically what the hell is happening to Bitcoin in a nutshell there. Morning, Kelly. Make sure you check out the 1 p.m. streams, everybody. Kelly, don't worry. We're going to talk about Dennis Porter. We're going to talk about Dennis Porter and the Nothing Burger. All right. It was not a crusty burger. I was thinking about Simpsons because I saw a Red Bull race earlier. And the Red Bull race it's a bicycle down a ramp, and then you jump off, and most people fall because the course is very, very narrow in points. One of them is dressed as Homer Simpson there, but Krusty Burger, this the world's worst name for a strip club. What's wrong with me? Anyways, let's see. There's the quant. Here's Colin Talks Crypto. Total 3 lied about alt season, faked everyone out. We've been talking about this again. I just want to remind you, if you see people talking about Total 3, they don't know what they're talking about. Share this with anyone still using Total 3 chart. It's garbage. Just throw it in the trash. It is ass. This is the chart, though. Total 3 ES. This is all the coins minus stable coins. Now, I noticed something here. On the 4 hour on Total 3. All right, so you zoom out. Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, we get it. It's a cup, it's a handle. Oh, Total 3 is showing a breakout. Total 3 ES not showing a breakout. That's not what I want to share with you folks, though. I want to share this. We are looking at a situation that is very similar to where we were, say, about a month ago. We are hitting oversold territories on the 4 hour chart. And not only that, we're doing definitely some hidden divergence here. And this is basically the health of the altcoin market. This is how your altcoin portfolio is going to do. This altcoin, index essentially is showing some bullishness that is looking remarkably similar to this period right here. We hit oversold territory. We, blasted that RSI to higher heights there. You see a little bit of, pretty much very similar situation here. And then we would end up pumping, be a nice little 30% pump in about a week and a half. But I'm going to show this chart, and now I'm about to show you Solana. This is total ES, so everything minus stable coins, all the alts minus stable coins outside top 10. And here's Solana. Oh, wait, 4 hour. Went to the day. Look at that. Look at the similarities there. Look at the similarities. Let me do it again. Boom. Oversold, 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 August 2nd. Boom. Oversold, August 2nd. And so Solana, this is Solana chart we're looking at here. Solana also looking oversold, and Solana also looking pretty similar to what we're seeing here. Now, little distinction, bullish divergence on the total 3 ES, no bullish divergence on Solana. And so this is suggesting, it is the mid caps and is the smaller caps. It is not the coins in the top 10. But I do want to share this Solana chart with you folks. And the reason I pulled up Solana as the example, Altcoin Gordon, yeah, we called him out on his dishonesty, I guess, when it comes to shorting Aster. But don't you dare sell your soul before this plays out. Well, never sell your soul, anybody. If you got some guy and he's trying to hand you a violin or guitar pick, do not sell your soul, okay? But don't sell your Solana before this plays out. No matter what they do, hold. And this is that Solana chart, basically looking at the weekly. Now he does things like, big thick gray lines and giant white lines, so you can't really quite see. But yeah, this is not the time to sell your Solana if you're long-term bullish. Will we get a short-term correction? Very possible. Could it look something like this? Very possible. What ended up happening here? Solana fell another 30%. So Solana, if it were to fall 30% from that height, yeah, maybe it dips a little lower. Maybe it hits this 175 range. Guess what? Just buy more. Just buy more and lower that average entry price there. All right, there's a little Solana. For the Solanis in the chat there, hit that like button if you do hold Solana. Tell me your altcoin that you want me to do a little TA on. We'll do it towards the end of the stream here. People made more money on XRP. It's not that sad. People made a lot of money off XRP. We're going to talk about Ripple and BlackRock. Yes. No, we're not anti-XRP. I'm anti-XRP being adopted by every bank in the world, because that will clearly not happen if you just think about it for 2 seconds. Binance, Wintermute, keeping the price of Solana down 100%. We covered the Wintermute market selling yesterday. Some BS. I thought it was rumor, but yeah, on-chain analytics proved it's happening. CZ getting called out for it right now. They are shorting. They're not shorting, but they're suppressing the price of Solana, having market makers sell their excess Solana. Don't know how any pro Bitcoin believer could join the. I don't even know where you're going with that one. Oh, we're going to talk about the California governor. We're going to talk about that as well. All right, don't worry. We got all the news here. Let's see here. So Tether in the news, folks. Tether raising funds at a $500 billion valuation, making it the most valuable private company, tied with OpenAI. And $500 billion, just a casual 2 Morgan Stanleys. This is all the largest banks. Still smaller than JP Morgan Chase. Still worth more than a Bank of America, though. to be the second largest bank in the world by market cap to Goldman Sachs. Very, very interesting detail there. All right, now if you do hold AVAX, Solana, BNB, BAT, XRP, Bitcoin, ETH, Cardano on the native chains, you are eligible for the midnight airdrop. 10 days left. Okay, 10 days left. Probably going to do a video when there's about 7 days left, so maybe on the weekend, folks. Now we got SBF. Got to talk about SBF, man. Let me just do this on the BlackRock thing, because the BlackRock thing, BlackRock, we actually covered it yesterday. Now that I'm thinking about it, BlackRock is tying in their BUIDL platform with Securitize. When you trade on this BlackRock platform, you're trading treasuries. So we covered it yesterday. So you're trading treasuries essentially, folks. Now, when you sell that, you don't have to sell it into cash. You can sell it into USDE. You sell it into RLUSD, XRP stablecoin. And so that is the BlackRock XRP partnership. In a weird way, as XRP leans more and more into the RLUSD stablecoin, it creates less utility or demand or need for XRP. So it's a weird, it's a thin line. It's a razor's edge that they must navigate now. So SBF, he posted GM yesterday. Someone said, no, SBF is not posting himself from prison. I am a friend posting on his behalf. You do not want to know what this picture is below. You do not want to know what this picture is below. You are not ready for what that picture is below. And that was a cucumber. Okay. If you were wondering, that was a cucumber. That was a risky scroll there, folks. But people just have a little fun with that. Not fun. Not fun. We should make fun of men getting molested, but whatever, he's a criminal, so they're going to dehumanize him. That is kind of the way of the world here. Have fun claiming your ADA from wallet of your choice. Arculus, get on it. Arculus, definitely get your comms up and let us know what is going on with that. We have seen it from different wallet holders. Just hold these tokens and you'll be happy. XRP, Bitcoin, ETH, ADA, HBAR, Link, and Ondo, and SWE had too many hands. Only Cardano could make claiming an airdrop such a ESO. How? Wallets, cold storage wallets having issues with claimable airdrops is not a Cardano issue. Ask XRP and Flare. And so, like, if that's not a unique situation. So the same exact thing happened with Flare, folks. Let's see here. It's an issue on Ledger. For a few minutes, gave up. I wanted to throw something. I've been using Ledger with my Cardano stake pool. It's like the only thing I can use for Cardano stake pool, but it's like, God, man, just give me that hot. I want that hot wallet here. Lace wallet signature feature is it's all. Trezor works fine. Yeah. Josh is going to be doing maybe some later streams later on. He might be doing some traveling. I'm not sure what's going on. So Sam Bankman, his X post ended up pushing FTT 45% higher, but I might be exposing a crime. I may have seen something. I'm not Zach XBT, but damn it if I was, I know what I'd be researching today. So he posted this, token pumped. But wait a minute. So you can see it right here on the 1 hour. Whoa, man, that is nuts, dude. That is like totally batshit insane. You can see, woo, man. Imagine having foreknowledge of this tweet. Like, imagine if you knew about this tweet ahead of time. Imagine if you knew about this tweet ahead of time, man. How crazy that would be, right? No one would ever do anything like that. So that's like when the tweet came out. Now let's just go back like a couple days here. Let's see here. Wait, what? Wait, what? Huh? Wait a minute. Let's go to the 1 hour. Wait, what? So this is the tweet. What the fuck is this? Excuse my language. What is this? This is a crime. This right here, all right, maybe it's not illegal. Maybe you can't point out to a specific statute, but this is insider trading. This is shady. This is foreknowledge. This is someone knew something. The fix is in, okay? The fix is in. This is the smoking gun, if you will, folks. There's no way anyone could ever convince me this was not someone knowing that they're going to do an SBF tweet. It's just the only explanation, folks. Now, maybe someone's going to be like, no, FTX had this weird thing in the news. Maybe. I covered crypto 24/7. It feels like I don't remember that, folks. So crime. That was a crime for sure. That's him loading his bag for sure. For sure. That was definitely something shady. This is crypto. Yeah, I guess. Let's see here. But following that, yeah. Interesting. SBF would never, he would never do anything like that. Never. It's a fun reminder that he was in the same detention facility as P. Diddy. Okay. He was in there with P. Diddy. What crypto question would P. Diddy ask SBF? I don't know if P. Diddy needs a meme coin to like try to make $2 million. I don't think P. Diddy needs that. I mean, he was, creating a library of compromising material via, recordings of people without their knowledge, ostensibly through the white parties and the freak off parties and the Diddy parties. But the diddler will strike. The diddler strikes again, says DC Crypto. All right, is P. Diddy the friend? Oh my God. What if, right? What if SBF was like, "Hey man, don't do it. Don't act on this, man. We're going to do it on, next week on Tuesday, man. Don't front run this." It's like telling him on Thursday. And then he just like freaking bought a bag. He's like, "God, well, now I got to wait a little longer, man." Let's see here. When Solana's market cap flips BNB, there's 80% chance of a sell-off. Yeah, CZ will sell. Now let's talk about ETH here. We've gone a long ways without talking about the number one altcoin here, ETH. ETH bulls touting a super cycle. But Wall Street says, no, you idiots. And we're going to look into who's saying there's a super cycle. So super cycle may be catalyzed by Wall Street's adoption of the technology, according to BitMine Technologies, the world's largest corporate ETH holder. So the guy that has more ETH than anybody is saying, it's a ETH super cycle. It's a super cycle. Shut up, fuck. Excuse me. God, I want to cuss at this guy. You own a bunch of ETH, okay? It's giving Arthur Hayes vibes. It's giving SBF vibes. The first major driver for ETH may be Wall Street running into the blockchain. They're like running. They're running into it. They're like, oh my God, that door over there. What does it say? It says ETH. I got to run to it. I just got to fill my bags with Ethereum. No, they're not. So despite the optimism around a super cycle, not everyone's smoking this hopium. Not everyone's so bullish on this ETH price trajectory. Citigroup has a $4,300 year-end target for ETH, significantly lower than the ETH all-time high that we saw August 24th. Now, AI agents, this is a bullish catalyst. I wanted to share this. For AI, there's an interesting thought from Ben Horowitz. He's half of A16Z. I would say he's like the more hidden half. For AI to be really valuable, it has to be an economic actor. So this is like, who's always in like a academic role? Who's always like playing an accountant? I don't know. I'll circle back to that, but it has to be an economic actor. So like Ben from Parks and Rec. Anyway, so AI agents have to be able to buy things and get money, according to Ben Horowitz. So AI agents need to be able to spend money. And if you're AI, you're not allowed to have a credit card. Crypto is like the economic network for AI. Who's going to stop an AI from getting a credit card? Do you think Visa's stopping it? No. If an AI, if you want to code it, like, all right, buy a burner phone online, I guess you would need some human interaction. You're going to need that Tesla robot or something helping you out there. Check out Vilas. All right, I can do that here. Have AI in charge of the Fed at this point. I mean, is Jerome Powell a robot? I don't know, man. I don't know. Could be. Affleck. No, Affleck. Yeah, I can see that. Affleck. Of course, the accountant. As a former accountant, I did accounting in my former life. I dropped out of accounting school. Actually, I was going to be a CPA. I was working as an accountant at the time, and I was like, let me level up. I never had any days like that. My day-to-day life was nothing like Ben Affleck and the accountant. I would never play Drew's death metal while like rolling a broomstick on my shin, like very violently and aggressively. I never did that. Now I would self-flagellate with the cat of nine tails, but that was for extra credit, and the teacher was weird. But anyways, E-Trade, I want to share this because this kind of tells me, this is almost, I should have maybe included this with Aster. This is why CZ is going to win. This is why crypto is going to win. This is why the legacy banks are finished. This is why they're done. E-Trade to add Bitcoin, ETH, Solana with this big expansion. When in 2026. Wait a minute. This announcement was confirmed May 1st. So May 1st, half a year ago, Bloomberg reported that the brokerage planned to add crypto trading next year. And so they decided on this May 1st. They're not going to have anything till 2026. Do you think CZ would come to a conclusion and then say, yeah, we'll ship in 15 months? No, it'd be shipped in 15 hours. Okay. He'd have those freaking devs, those coders, those engineers. They would be up. They would be fueled by amphetamines. And if they went to sleep, it would be frightful nightmare sleep. Their eyelids would be darting. They would be on a beanbag. It would smell like Caroline Ellison, and they would jump up and they would be ready to code more. Crypto is going to smoke legacy finance when it comes to offering these services. Now, there is hope for traditional finance. It's going to be startups. But guess what? Those startups, they see the value of crypto. Robinhood pivoting towards crypto. Other AI startups, other finance startups, anything coming out of Silicon Valley, they're going to see the value of crypto. Crypto cannot lose. When E-Trade, Morgan Stanley, they're making moves like this, like, all right, put it in a committee. And guess what? They're gonna spend 17 meetings on what does the web page look like? Oh, well, what if the logo is 10% bigger? And then they're gonna make it 10% bigger, and they'll be like, well, maybe we move the logo to the middle. And oh, well, what if we change the font? And meanwhile, the devs like, can we just ship product? Can we just get people to buy Solana and ETH and Bitcoin? Oh, no, we got to check with legal first. We did a PayPal video. I use PayPal all the time, and nothing against the marketing agency. In fact, I probably shouldn't shit on it right now since it was a sponsored content. Let me just say I'll keep it fair and balanced. I've never had that much back and forth with the legal department over a video. They were sweating us. All right, see Bitcoin IRA. We had PayPal. They were like, oh, well, it's the wrong blue. Okay, well, that makes sense. Oh, actually make it black. Okay. The dude had a phone shot. You know, we put the logo on a phone for, just like a little second of, just some B-roll is what they call it. They're like, yeah, it's the wrong color. They're like, oh my God. It was the hardest experience. And I love PayPal as a product. I use it all the time, and I share this. I've been doing this since 2021. I've been giving this advice for years. PayPal's my fiat off-ramp. If you have any kind of significant sales in crypto, and I did in the December 21 time, some banks will debank you. They'll say, oh, I don't know about this. We don't want you as a client anymore. The former man who ran the channel, he lost several bank accounts. You talk to several people in crypto, they'll lose bank accounts. When I sell my crypto, I actually sell it on an exchange, typically Coinbase. I take those funds, I move those funds to PayPal. I spend 1 to 3 business days and it's free. And then from PayPal, I then move it to my bank account. And then my bank is just seeing a payment from PayPal versus crypto exchange in Asia. And they're like, oh, fuck, what is this? Who are you? What are you dealing with, the North Korean hackers? Of course I'm not. But banks will use any excuse to debank you, folks. All right. Someone does USDC to Robinhood to bank. Robinhood is probably going to be fine because they have stocks. So I think you'd be good with that. What if I'm scared of in Sweden? Banks here don't like crypto. Yeah, see if you could do the PayPal plan. I don't know if PayPal's accessibility in the European nation states there. Everybody's screaming bull market back on, so we're going to crash tomorrow. I've seen a lot of bearishness in the timeline, though. Ondo, TVL, growing, tokenization going parabolic. Yeah, it's getting more and more crowded. It's almost like the stable coins, right? There's more and more. The fees to use PayPal to buy crypto are outrageous. I wouldn't use it. That's why I said it's my fiat off-ramp. I pay the $30 a month for Coinbase so I can talk to a human, so I can trade there for free. And hey, look, sure, there's a Coinbase premium on Bitcoin, but sometimes the Coinbase premium's in the negative. Mamo, a lot of people like it. A lot of people like Mamo. Aster, $50? No. PayPal's dirty. Are they dirty? I don't know. Let's see. The PayPal Mafia story is pretty interesting there. Let's see. What about using Moonwell and its virtual bank accounts? I think that is, if you're doing size, I think a bank might be a little like, what the heck is this? Less so or more so than they would be with PayPal. How do I send you a proposal? I mean, bro, you can always email me. I have my email on my X account. So I read all my emails, guys. If it gets lost in spam or whatever, maybe it takes me a few days. All right, let's talk about Dennis Porter. Dennis Porter had a big announcement yesterday. We covered it. We were covering that the big announcement was coming. Here's Wolf of Wall Street. So he was kind of talking about it, him, Wendy O, a couple others. You would think from the angry DMs I'm still receiving that we would have allowed, I don't want to say it out loud because of YouTube, we would have allowed Osama back from the dead to announce breaking news about a future T attack. Crypto Down Hall is a news show. If the news is not big enough for your liking, then manage expectations. We provide a platform. Further, many scream for days that the news of Dennis Porter would be a nothing burger, but still bother to spend their valuable time tuning into the show. So why would you sew up for something you know will be underwhelming? Seems like many of you need a hug or a girlfriend or a hobby. DJ, they probably need all three. All right, so what was the news? He's like, this is the biggest news ever. Biggest news. California. This is big news out of California, man. Just huge news. The news was it's a pro-Bitcoin Democrat. He's going to run for California governor. Presumably, Gavin is going to run for president. I think there's a high odds. In fact, you go to Polymarket probably. It's high odds it's going to be Vance versus Newsom. So I think Newsom, yeah, he's probably not going to run for re-election California governor. And now we have this guy who, he's fairly pro-crypto. I did do a little post about him. I immediately started diving deep. I immediately was like checking his past. I was going all the way back to like the 20 teens. I was looking at some of his posts there, and I think I found a little something. Let's see here. This is interesting. Oh, I'm not under replies. I was like, I can't find it. Where the heck is it? All right, so you go to my account. Let's see here. So scrolling. He is pro lockdown, which to me is a little anti-crypto. He is a globalist, which, I don't think that's really here nor there when it comes to crypto. But, some people are going to be, more so globalist, less so globalist. Some people might be like, I'm a nationalist, like if you're in Colombia, you may love Colombia. If you're in Sri Lanka, maybe you just love being Sri Lankan. Maybe you're American first. But he also agreed with Biden's policies on crypto. He would say things like, if you go into his posts, oh yeah, right here, the White House, this is 22, literally during Operation Choke Point 2.0. This is Ian Calderon. Nobody else is pulling out the freaking 3-year-old tweets, okay? DZ, I always say, we never trust, we always verify. They're like, trust him, he's pro-Bitcoin. Trust him. I don't trust. We verify, folks. The White House, looking at cryptocurrencies and how to regulate, shouldn't be interpreted as negative. If anything, regulation brings legitimacy and broader adoption. More people participating is good. You can't get there without a minimum level of consumer protection. Where was this consumer protection with FTX? Where was this protection when Sam Bankman-Fried is shaking hands with Maxine Waters, hanging out with Joe Biden, his mother Barbara, pouring millions into the DNC machine? Whoa, where's the oversight there? The biggest crypto fraud in history happened underneath their watch. And meanwhile, they're shutting down the authentic players, the people trying to provide real value, the people not stealing customer funds to fund political action committees. But you're like, no, that they did good. They did good. They're good. They're the White House, man. This isn't negative, man. This is positive, man. White House, the Bidens are great on crypto, guys. What are you talking about? So for me, it's a little disqualifying. I don't even think it's a left or right issue. RFK, you could say he's less of a Democrat than, a California Democrat for sure. But I mean, RFK is pro Bitcoin. You don't have to be anti-crypto to be a Democrat by any means, but to champion Biden's crypto policies in 2022 when they're literally enacting fraud, enabling fraud, pushing up fraud with FTX, and they're shutting down genuine players in the space. They're shutting down Binance USA. They're coming after Kraken. They're sending legal enforcement letters to XRP, to Coinbase, you name it. You're an American entity, we're coming after you. Oh, except for that guy. Well, wait a minute. Is it because that guy gave through his mother, millions of dollars to Democrats? Yeah, but to be fair, they gave to Republicans as well. They gave to both. They gave to both. I'm not saying it's a left or right thing, but you know, if you look at the dollars, there was a bias. So you know, I was leaning in on the bias there a little bit. All right, so there's my Ian Calderon take there. He's a bad actor. He's shady, and hey, it is what it is, folks. It is what it is. All right, everybody has opinion. Everyone has an A. Someone should use more than the other. Well, you know, it is 2021. That one was different. Biden was a pawn. More happened in 8 months than past 10 years combined. Trump's lived bankless. Yeah, being bankless, being debanked, it will galvanize you into supporting crypto for sure. Can we just take a sigh of relief that Gensler will not be calling the shots there? Let's see here. Midterms could rebalance the regulation for sure, for sure, for sure. Let's see here. This was this was the huge breaking news announcement. Yeah, man. Yeah, it was sad. It was sad. Let's see here. People are up a whole lot on Aster. Hey, Nick C, I'm glad you jumped in on that. I'm glad you listened to our call. I don't know if you listened to our call, but you know, I'm at the same time we were screaming buy. I'm glad you buy. Am I mad I didn't buy more? Yes, so mad, man. I'm so mad. I did a buy in a video, and I don't like revealing all my wallets. Obviously, you don't want to be like, hey guys, here's how much BNB I have. I found an old BNB gaming wallet, and so I only put in a small amount, man. I'm very frustrated with that. So if crypto goes up and needs something, what could it be at next? What is that? What could it be at next? Well, I think what is going to be the next slave up? I think people taking profit into gold, from gold into Bitcoin, could be a very, very strong catalyst here. I made the call. You didn't listen. Hey, man, good job. Good job. Well, we're glad. Hey, thanks for the ask. Hey, Justin's in too. All right. Well, I'm very, very glad. I was just broke. That's why I got debanked. Hey, man, some people are debanked because they were like, you know, doing something in January of 2021. We're not going to say what that was, but, you know, maybe they're marching, you know, marching with a capital M. So they're marching. And some people, it's overdraft fees. But look, all the roads end up in the same place, and that road is an orange town hall called Bitcoin. All right, we did have some Powell highlights from yesterday. Last week's rate cut, driven by the rising job market risks. Fed moving closer to neutral. With the September cut, they feel well positioned. Powell, no completely risk-free path for policy. This is from his speech yesterday. Tariffs are the main driver for the recent price pressures. Inflation trajectory still uncertain. Long-term expectations still anchored around 2% target inflation there. So there we go. Oh, we got a huck up $400 billion on Aster. Good job, man. Good job. I don't know how you're vastly exceeding the market cap by 130x. But hey, good job, man. Good job. Let's see here. Let's see. All right. If we go to war, yeah, the war stuff, not great, not great. I think that's saber rattling, and I think that's art of the deal moves. But folks, that is our show for today. I do appreciate you guys hanging out. We're gonna have the 1 p.m. We're gonna have the 4 p.m. Don't forget DeFi, the DeFi channel. We got some DeFi content that we're putting out, and I'm gonna tell you guys about the next Aster in tonight's video. Turn on notifications. More of you should have watched Drew. We'll let that slide today, but turn on notifications. YZI Labs invested in Aster. YZI is also in a few other hot altcoins that haven't really had a major move yet. Now, I'm not saying all of them are going to pump, but we're going to look at the important ones. We're going to look at the ones that have those bullish narratives, and we're going to see what could potentially be the next Aster. So if you missed out, let's get the next one, folks. Let's all focus on the prize. The prize is have more Satoshis, more wealth, become financially free. Let's give yourself a pat on the back for making it through this much of this boring period of this bull market phase, folks. So hit that like button on the way out. I'll see you guys in the future.
We just wanted to take a quick second to shout out our sponsor, Arculus. They are a cold storage hardware wallet, helps you secure all of your digital assets for the future. Just tap this thing to the back of your phone and boom, you're in. We wouldn't be able to do this without them, but also wouldn't be able to do this without you guys, the Disco fam. You've supported us a lot over the years. If you want to support the channel now, just use the code DC20. It gets you 20% off this card. It's the #1 way you can support this channel going forward. Thank you for your support. We'll see you at the top.